We'll call to order the City of Douglasville City Council Legislative Work Session for tonight, which is January the 6th, 2022. Happy New Year to everyone. We did already have our invocation and pledge allegiance at our special called meeting where our city council members that were reelected were sworn in and received the oath of office. So we'll go to item number 4, which is announcements and presentations. I'd like to welcome you to the City of Douglasville's legislative work session. This is a work session where agenda items are presented for discussion only, and no official action will be taken tonight on these items. The items that we discussed tonight, official action will be taken next Monday at our 6 p.m. Work session, not work session, but a regular meeting where we're going to vote on these items. If the business you're here for is not listed as an agenda item, there will be ample time under the items comments from Citizens and Delegates section for you to discuss your business. We ask that if that is what you decide to do, when you come forward, that you would give us your name and address for the record. You have 5 minutes to talk with us, and we ask that there will be business that is germane to the City of Douglasville. Just a few protocol items I'd like to go over, and then we can begin the meeting. I ask that you would please keep your comments and presentations on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make our decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be of a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. And we will give you a warning, and if you deviate from that warning a second time, we will discontinue you speaking while turning the mic off. Only one person speaking at a time. Please do not applaud or react to speakers. Speak from the audience, cheer, or carry on conversations as we are in this meeting, and we ask that you would pay attention when you come forward. I remind you that we're only required to accept public comments on zoning items and public hearings. If you have a cell phone or electronic device, we ask that you will please put those in silent mode or turn those off until after the meeting so that they will not be disruptive. Now, this is how the meeting will go. The agenda items will be handled as the following. The committee chairperson will read the agenda item. Then that person or applicant will come forward and present their case. Myself and council members will possibly ask questions to help us make our decisions, to deliberate and make our determination on Monday. After that, the committee chairperson, if it's a public hearing, will ask for those that are in favor to come up and speak. Each side has 20 minutes, so 20 minutes for those that are in favor of the item and 20 minutes for those in opposition, and each person has 5 minutes to speak in totality, 20 minutes per side. Again, when you come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. There are cards that are out on the desk. If you'd like to speak, we ask that you would fill those cards out and hand that card to our city clerk. Where's the city clerk? Oh, hi, Miss Vicki. Our city clerk, Miss Acker, she's in the back. We've been changing things around because of COVID and trying to socially distance. So I apologize, I didn't see you, Miss Acker. But that if you would give that card to Miss Acker and then give us your name and address as you come to the podium. This is not a question and answer format or debate. We're just here to receive the information, deliberate, take it under advisement, and then make a decision next Monday. If you have any information that you would like to distribute, we ask that you would give that copy to our city clerk, and she will make copies for all of us and distribute it to us at a later time. And I believe that is all. Those are all the instructions that we have, and we'll move on with the agenda. There are agendas outside on the table, or there's one electronically here on the screen. So now we'll move on to item number 5, which is Economic Development Committee. That's chaired by newly elected again, Mayor Pro Tem, Councilmember Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under the Economic Development Committee at this time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. We'll move on then to item number 6, Finance Committee, chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No business tonight.
Thank you, sir. Housing and Community Affairs Committee, that's chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Burdanley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee, chaired by Councilmember re-elect Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. I have a couple of items this afternoon. The first item A is adopting ordinance to amend the charter of the City of Douglasville to revise its corporate limits and ward maps based on the 2020 U.S. Decennial Census. First enactment, Ms. Hampton, please.
Congratulations, Councilman Davis.
Thank you,
Welcome
ma'am.
back. I will defer to our staff attorney, Lynn Woodward.
Where is,
She's in the back. Hey, Ms. Woodward.
okay.
Thank you so much, City Manager and Councilman Davis. This item is what we are proposing to be the new ward map boundaries for, based on the new census that came out last year. So if you will go to the attachment and go straight to page 9, you will see that our total population is 34,650 persons. And this number is a bit different from the estimate that I gave you when we were getting your authorization to publish the notice of intent to amend the charter. That number I gave you was 35,815 persons, and that was based on our GIS department manually drawing the city limits. But they were recently able to grab a hold of the software that the state uses, and were able to tie our population number to the number that the state legislation has issued. So if we adopt that number as the official population number, then we are looking at 34,650 persons. This is quite a growth compared to the 2010 population, which was 30,958 persons. Based on the 34,650 persons number and considering the one person, one vote principle, the ideal population for each ward is 4,950 persons. And for wards that have 2 posts, that number is 9,900 persons. So now we are at the task, we have the task of trying to draw the boundary lines to make each ward have a population as close to the ideal population as possible. Now, if you look at the table on page 9 of the attachment, you will see that wards 1 and 3 both had a lot of growth, so much so that they far exceeded the ideal population number for those wards. So in order to balance out the population, the new proposed ward map took some parts of Ward 1 and turned that into Ward 2, took some parts of Ward 3 and turned that into Ward 2 as well, and a little bit of Ward 2 became Ward 5. Ward 1 and Ward 4 kind of exchanged their boundaries a little, and you will actually be able to see that on page 10. There's a current ward and a proposed ward comparison that you can see which areas we're proposing to redistrict. And that is my presentation. I am happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Councilman Davis. Thank you, Attorney Woodward. I guess I would ask, this is a little bit confusing.
Yes, it is.
So wards 2 and 3 were the most populous. And so you were saying that you had taken, drawn the lines to make the distribution evenly between all 5 wards and 2 super wards.
Correct, that as much as possible. We're trying to redraw the wards so that the population in the new wards are as close to the ideal population as possible.
So each ward member has about, on an average, if we were averaging up 5,000 people.
Correct.
And the two super wards, post 1 and 2, have 5,000 as well, because, I mean, it's 34,000 people, but if you just round it up, it's 35,000. So with 5 wards, everyone has 5,000 people.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. If you look at, if your attachment version 2, Exhibit A, page 2 of 2, the 2020 ward map, that chart will give you the exact numbers.
Okay.
And it'll show you what's
9,900.
proposed as well as what was existing.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Councilman Davis.
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem?
Hey, Mr. Chair, thank you. I had a little bit of a concern, and I don't know what level that Ms. Woodward had in terms of involvement on the actual drawing, but there is, and I don't know if there is even anything we can do about this, but I noticed that the piece of Ward 1 that was split off is within Arbor Station and is Oakwood. And it's the only neighborhood within Arbor Station that breaks off into Ward 4. And no disrespect meant to my colleague, Mr. Councilman Watts. I wonder, there's a difference in the population between Ward 4 and Ward 1, and Ward 4 is a little bit bigger. And I'm wondering if that's possible to keep Oakwood, I mean, compensate somehow, some other way, but to keep Oakwood inside Ward 1. It just seemed kind of peculiar. I know that one of the directives on the decennial census is to maintain communities of interest. And Ward 1 has been, in its entity, primarily Arbor Station, so.
We can look at trying to shift that for Monday.
Okay, appreciate that.
Okay.
I don't mean to
Councilman
steal
Abbott?
people from you, Councilman Watson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It appears that Ward 2 would be reduced by a small piece, and it would become Ward 1. It looks, that must be Bright Star Road. I'm not able to identify it in this picture, but to the west of Bright Star, the west side of Bright Star Road. Am I correct there, Ms. Woodward? What you show in green in current ward map versus going to pink, which means it goes to Ward 1 in a proposed ward map. Am I assuming that is the correct street? There's no street name on it, so.
You are correct, and we can try to get that down to what we can do, Ms. Woodward, is break down the ward maps, each individual map for Monday, so we can show that, we can try to send that out, so it's not in one big map, but Councilman Adams, I do believe you're correct.
Okay, thank you. I'm with Mayor Pro Tem. It is a little confusing when you cannot identify the streets and trying to identify where that is and what's being removed and what's being put somewhere else. I did not have page 8 or page 9. I forget what it is that Ms. Woodward was referring to. I don't have anything on either page 8 or page 9 that would help me in any way other than.
Page 8 of the attachment and 9, they're Exhibit A.
Look at my page 9.
The page numbers are not reflective when you.
They're not agreeing.
Reflective, that's correct. So it's the version 2, Exhibit A, page 2 of 2.
Okay, thank you. I found that. It's just not in the correct location. Thank you very much. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, anyone else?
Yes, Chairman, I just wanted to reiterate, Ms. Hampton, are you stating on Monday we'll have a more specific with street names? Is that correct? Or you'll send it out to us prior to Monday?
I'm going to request prior to Monday, hopefully it's fairly simple to get GIS to just have individual ward maps of each ward so you can see the street. Of course, it's difficult to do that with the map being so large, but we'll try to get that broken down by street.
That's fine. That's
Yes,
all
ma'am.
I have, Chairman. Thank you, Ms.
Okay, anyone else?
I do have another
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor.
subsequent question. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I know this is kind of off the beaten path because we're talking about the ward maps, but we do have eggs and issues with the Chamber of Commerce in our delegation on next Wednesday. And so I believe some of our representatives are changing for the state. And so, and the U.S., like we had Congressman Scott, I'm not certain if that's in the city anymore, if he's just in the county. Could we have who our representatives are?
We can include that, send that new information out to you.
Thank you so much, and that will help us. I know we have a new representative that's going to be from Paulding, taking some portion of the city, and I'm not certain of who that is. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I had.
Okay. Okay, Madam Mayor, that's all I have. I'd like to place this back on the agenda for Monday for further discussions, please. Okay, let's move right along for item B, Authorize the payment of expense for registration costs and reasonable travel expense for the Mayor Pro Tem, Terry Miller, Councilman Sam Davis, and Councilman Howard Estes to attend the National League of Cities 2022 Congressional City Conference, CCC, in Washington, D.C. on March 14th through the 16th, in the amount consists of those established in the administration ordinance for pre-approved training.
Yes, sir, Councilman Davis, and just to remind you all, your administrative ordinance does require anytime council members are traveling out of state, there is a requirement to be approved by the council. Those are the council members listed in the item are the only ones that have indicated to either myself or the city clerk that they would be interested in attending the event. If there's anyone else who would like to be added, we can do that before Monday night, but this meets your requirement to have prior approval before we can process travel and training expenses for this trip.
Okay. Councilman Adams?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. City Manager, would you just review for me, clarify, we have approved that Madam Mayor would be able to travel without any other meeting or agreement or vote, but not any council member without having something like this as far as authorization, right?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay, so the mayor is not going to attend, is that correct?
I have not made my decision. I'm looking at Omicron to see
Okay.
how.
And then are the expenses for this trip coming out of the individual travel budgets of the individuals, or is this in addition?
It would come out of their current travel and training budget. We have not expensed anything that I know of so far this fiscal year. Your fiscal year began in July. Most of your costs for the annual convention came out of the prior year's budget because we had already started expending those funds. So in a sense, most individuals should have the funds to cover this training.
Okay, thank you, that's all.
Okay, thanks, sir. Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir, Councilman Davis. Councilman Adams, you had the bubble on the side of my head that goes into another ... I did ask the city manager when we have our workshop in February for us to discuss issues like this, that we would not have to come back before
Yes,
the
ma'am.
body to approve training if it's in your budget and it's already on the pre-approved list of trainings, that we don't have to come forward every time, because if we had an issue where it was in between a meeting, this is really close, it's March, and have to get, approved for the next week, it's cumbersome. So we'll just have a conversation about it, and I just wanted to put that bug in everyone's ear to have that as a discussion. If you have it in your budget, it's part of the list of places that we know are approved or pre-approved, just like for myself, you don't have to come before the body to ask if you can attend a conference that is part of education and training. That's all
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have.
Madam Mayor, thank you for that. And also, we are a member of the National League of Cities. So, and right there, and I think Union City, the president presides, Mayor Williams. So, any other? Councilman Watts?
Yes, sir, thank you, Mr. Chairman. To piggyback on what Mayor said, when we had discussions about this, it's been several years ago, if memory serves, at the time, there was a question as to whether or not budgets would be able to handle this type of travel along with
Annual.
the other events. And so if I remember correctly, that's one of the reasons why there was a discussion about it, not so much about your travel, because your budget's larger, but, I guess if it's coming out of the budget and their budgets can handle this and whatever else they want to go to, just as long as they don't exceed the budget, then I don't have a problem one way or another. But it just seemed like that's why we had a lot of discussion about it at the time.
Yes, sir. And I think we were trying to have the ordinance reflect all of the training opportunities, just so they would be approved and we wouldn't have to keep coming back, because at one point we wanted to make certain that there weren't some training that everyone, it wasn't part of GMA or mayor's conference or United States Conference of Mayors or African American Mayor. It was just a lot of different conferences. So we wanted to have a pre-approved list so that everyone knew what the trainings were. And I don't know if you want to give any information, City Manager.
Yes, ma'am,
Like a
you're,
bubble.
you're correct. That's the only
Okay.
thing I would add. And just for everyone's information, I'll have the finance director send you all out a copy of the budget for legislative, so you all can see what the total cost is that you have allotted for education and training.
So, Madam Mayor, Councilman Willie, I put you on consent agenda for Monday. So
I don't
those that
No,
want
we
to
don't, we want to vote on it.
Okay.
Yeah, they want to vote, no consent
So
agenda.
those that plan on going, see the city manager or the clerk. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on then to the next committee, which is Personnel and Organization Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight in personnel and organization.
Thank you so much, Coach. We'll move on then to item number 10, which is Planning and Development Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have
You're
one
welcome.
item tonight, tabled from December 20th, 2021. Hold a public meeting, consider a request for one, a variance to reduce the required 15-foot side yard principal structure setback, section 4.08B of the Unified Development Ordinance for a variance of 12 feet for a remaining requirement of 3 feet on the east and west side of a lot, and two, a variance to allow paving within the required 10-foot landscape strip setback, section 8.02E6A of the Unified Development Ordinance on the east, west, and north sides of a lot of 1.043 acres at 5621 Fairburn Road in land lot 52, District 1, Section 5, Parcel 18. Application by Integrity Construction, care of Ali V. Yago. Mr. Anderson?
Ryan Anderson, 6701 Church Street. On December 22nd, staff met with the applicant's representative, and we advised the applicant that his variance request was too substantial. And after the meeting on December 29th, they sent in a letter requesting that their variance request be withdrawn.
So the request for the variance that they wanted us to consider tonight and on Monday for a vote then has been withdrawn, so we'll take no action on that item.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anderson. Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. That's all that we have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. We'll move on then to Public Improvement and Beautification Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Nicole Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business this evening.
Thank you so much. Congratulations again on being reelected.
Thank you.
We'll move on then to Public Relations Committee, chaired by Councilmember Howard Estes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Public Relations has no business this evening.
Thank you, sir. Public Safety Committee, Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Yes, ma'am. I have a couple of items.
Yes, sir.
Item A, hold a public hearing to consider request for an alcoholic beverage license for the on-premise sale and consumption of spirit liquor and the following location. That's a Caribbean Kitchen Bar and Grill. Will you be on your way down? And DBA Caribbean Kitchen Bar and Grill, location 6002 Fairburn Road. Proposed agent outlet manager, Junior Sengsker, I hope I pronounced it right, and required fees have been paid into the finance department. How you doing this afternoon, sir?
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Good.
State your name and address for the records, please, sir.
Okay, my name is Junior Sangster, and the address for the business is 6002 Fairburn Road.
Okay, I really appreciate you hanging in there with us, all the construction that's going on there in the area, and hopefully that people are still coming to you, because it is good. Okay, Madam Mayor and Council, before we hold a public hearing, are there any questions, please? Okay, at this time, we have to hold a public hearing, and it'd be 5 minutes for those who speak for your licensing, and 5 minutes for those who speak against. At this time, we'll open up the floor for those who speak for this license. Okay, since I see no takers, for those who speak against, we have 5 minutes. Okay, I see no takers. We'll close the public hearing. But I really do appreciate you all, hanging in there and come back on Monday and we'll give you a decision, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted the city manager, come back for me.
Come back, come back.
You have good food. If, city manager, could you tell them a brief synopsis of how much longer and what's going on? I know that you all have been very patient, but you've had some water issues and some other concerns about the construction in the area. You mind? I apologize for putting you on the spot, city manager, but I know you know the answer.
Well, I wish I could tell you final construction date. That I cannot say, but I do know that they're estimating another 6 to 9 months for construction in that area. They are moving as swiftly as possible. I do know that there were some concerns that were during construction identifiers that they hadn't predicted in the beginning that dealt with some of the sewer and water infrastructure there, so that's what's taken so long. But as you can see, of course, despite what's happened with COVID, they are working. We do have monthly meetings, so as soon as I get information from our January meeting, I'll make certain to get that information over to you if that date has changed, a difference between the 6 to 9 months.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, and thank you for your patience. We appreciate you investing in the city and continuing to make good food, and we appreciate you again.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. Okay, Madam Mayor, moving on to item B, hold a public hearing to consider a request for a change in agent outlet manager for the alcoholic beverage license for the retail package sale of wine and malt beverage at the following establishment. Current licensee, the Kroger Company, DBA Kroger number 376, location 630 Thornton Road. Proposed agent outlet manager Christopher Barhaldi. The required fees have been paid into the finance department. The applicant, please come down. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, my name is Christopher Bartoldi. Home address is 71 Corey Drive, Noonan, Georgia.
And I believe this is a renewal, right?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yes, okay, thank you. And thank you for hanging in there with us, sir.
Absolutely.
Times have been sort of a little slow, but, okay, we have any from mayor and council?
Mr. Chairman, I would just ask if there have been any issues with the license under the present setup. Chief, do you have any information to that effect?
Not directly, but my...
It's okay. No, it's okay. I was just asking our police chief.
No, sir, we haven't had any issues.
Just a renewal, basically, that's what we're saying it is, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's all.
It's
Thank you.
renewal.
I thought you were referring to me as
That's quite all
chief, so I
right.
was confused.
No, sir.
And Mr. Chris, we're gonna have to hold a public hearing just like we do everybody else. And we give everybody 5 minutes to speak against and 5 minutes for, at this time, we open up the floor for 5 minutes to speak for this license at Kroger. I'm sure everybody loves Kroger. Okay, no takers, we're gonna speak 5 minutes for those who speak against. I see no takers, we will close the public hearing. And Mr. Christopher, if you come back on Monday, and we, you get, okay?
Outstanding. I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you too, coming in. Thank you, that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
You're so welcome.
I know it. We'll move on to the next committee, which is Recreation, Culture, and Tourism Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight in Recreation, Culture, and Tourism.
Thank you so much, Councilman Watts. Technology Committee, chaired by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have
You're
one
welcome.
item under the Technology Committee tonight. That is to authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with Consumer Security Services, Inc. to provide security services to the Club Drive Maintenance Facility. Mr. Samuel Jenkins will explain to us what we're going to get for our money.
All right. Hello again, Madam Mayor, Council.
evening.
Sam Jenkins, IT Manager, 6695 Church Street.
Mhm.
So we added the alarm system to Club Drive about 4 months ago for the current building we had. But now we have the new building in the back, so we also want to add a security system to that one as well before they start putting their equipment in there. So that's what this is for. So Consumer Security Services, they do security for all our other buildings for alarms, so we'll be just adding to that.
Do you have any questions or comments from anybody on
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes,
question,
Councilman
please.
Adams.
Does anyone else have the attachments that go with several of these items? I don't have any attachments there. They're not pulling up, they're blank.
I do, I have attachments. Did you
The technology person is right here.
refresh?
We can, I've
You
already,
refresh?
I've already done that several times, so we'll take it up with Mr. Sam afterwards.
Yes, because
I'll probably be a no vote on Monday.
Well, hoping to consent. Hoping to consent.
Any other questions, comments? Well, Mr. Councilman Adams, if you're adamantly against this item, I will put it on the agenda. If not, we can go to the consent agenda.
He needs to.
Just in case, never know. If there's no other objections, I would put that item on the consent agenda for Monday. All right. Madam Mayor, that's all we have under the Technology Committee. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. We'll move on then to the next committee, which is Transportation Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Burdanley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
One item tonight is to adopt a resolution approving a projects list for the city's application for the GDOT 2022 LMIG grant. Authorize the application to be submitted and authorize the mayor to sign the local government certification and affidavit in connection with the application.
Okay.
It's not Mr. Roberts.
That's not Mr. Roberts.
Good evening,
Hello.
Madam Mayor.
That's even
Council.
greater.
I'm Melissa Dickinson, 8485 West Courthouse Square, Douglasville. This item is the recommended resurfacing list that we will submit for the LMIG 2022. GDOT funds we will receive total $349,568, and the city has a 30% minimum match, which will be $104,870. So based on the estimated total cost of the list, we will use SPLOST funds to cover the $406,931.
Thank you. I just have a question. The 4th Street says Colquitt, Strickland, East Strickland, and Brown Street. And our city manager probably can assist. For Brown Street, with the resurfacing, would that cost not be associated with the GDOT project instead of putting it in here?
No, ma'am, not on this section.
Oh,
Yeah, no, ma'am.
okay. All right, do we have any other questions, Madam Mayor?
I do. Thank you so
ma'am.
much, Committee Chairperson.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Ms. Melissa, for coming in and presenting to us. Give our regards to Mr. Gregg. I'm excited about these streets. I'm trying to look and see, you have a listing of the rating of the streets. And so all of them are 5 and 6. Do we have any other streets that are in this rating that are not on the list, or these are just the most, the ones that are most deteriorated or need the most attention?
Yes, these are the ones that need the most attention.
So we have some other 5 and 6 rating
I
streets?
believe we do, and I can get with Mr. Roberts to get that list to you.
Okay.
And
All
Madam
right.
Mayor, you all just approved to revise and update your rating
Mhm.
specification. So even what Ms. Dickinson may give you, there may be some other streets depending upon the age of street, so that's going to take us a little bit of time. So what she has will, in some sense, almost be old information.
Right.
Okay, so AECom's going to do another evaluation and give us the streets again with the ratings?
Yes, ma'am.
And then we can submit those to LMIG or whatever our resurfacing program.
And we're getting ourselves prepared for the a potential 2022 SPLOST.
Yeah, that-
So it'll be a larger list than LMIG. It'll be more in line with your $2-3 million packages for resurfacing.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Dickinson, thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, thank you. In fact, what the city manager just said may negate what I was going to ask, which is that we'd gotten some requests to look at Springwood Drive in Arbor Station. And, obviously, if it didn't hit the rating that was required for this, but I would like to know what the rating was on that, so I can at least pass that information on. If it, because I've walked it myself, and it's got some sketchy patches in it somewhere, but I don't know if it's considered to be consistently bad enough to get the higher rating or not. But yeah, if you can let me know what that rating was for Springwood, I'd appreciate it.
And we can share that document with everybody.
Okay. Will do.
Thank you. That's all, Madam Chair.
Anyone else? Yes.
Yes, Madam Chair, just a question, and I'm sure it's me. Have we always had a 30% match for these?
Yes, sir.
It's not changed, that 30% is the
It's
same
always
each
been
year?
30%.
I'm not remembering it as that, but thank you, that's all.
Okay, anyone else? I would like to ask, because this comes up every year, pretty much, is can we look at what the streets were previously? Like, we have the new list, and then, because for me, it's different when we have new streets, and I forget the old streets. I just want to make sure that our inventory is, not to question staff, I believe that you are doing a great job, but I want to just kind of see the inventory. For me, I'm visual, so I like to see it. So if I can see the previous year, so we can, you know what I mean? Because you only give us what we have right now. But I would like to see the previous year, even maybe 2 years, just so that I can keep an inventory. I'd like to kind of create a book.
We can actually, probably would be more helpful, just if you can include everything that we've done since we've begun SPLOS, inclusive of LMIG,
Very
so
good
for the
idea.
past 6 years.
Yeah, I'll get that list together.
Yeah, because I think with construction in different areas, you're gonna have some streets that are gonna, you know, they rated at this time, but because of construction or people using them for just path through streets, that their rating may be different at a different time. Does that make sense? Okay, thank you. Anybody else? No? All right. So those documents will come in, so I will not ask for this to be put on the consent agenda, but that's all we have under transportation. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Person.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you,
Yes,
Ms. Melissa. Do we have any other business to come before committees tonight, not committees, but legislative work session?
Madam
From
Mayor, I'd
council
like to
members.
ask a question. What's the status on the security for the parks? To revise, or we talked about the parks, have we re-implemented that?
For all of our parks, or just, well, as of right now, we're actually pulling together a plan for closing down Jesse Davis Park. So Chris Bass will be presenting that to you, because we're getting ready to commence construction within the next 60 days. So that will affect security there.
Right.
We're getting ready to open Will and Workers Park, which will have a completely different security system. So we'll talk to you all about that, and then I'll have him make a presentation on what we do with Hunter
Okay.
Park. But it's completely changed based on now the new scope of services that we have.
And how soon will he make the presentation? How soon is that coming
And
up?
have him, he and I talked about coming in February. Originally, we were gonna do it at the retreat, but there's just not enough
The
time.
time, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all I have.
Thank you. So do we still have our security company that we are contracting with?
Yes, ma'am. We are still, they are still providing security for us. I know that there were questions about increasing that security presence, but as we look to taper off, because of what we're looking at for construction, you know, there was just, we needed to take a look at that, because there may not necessarily be the need, depending upon what the construction company may do. It may be a different type of security, depending upon what's out there doing construction.
Okay. And I know a few weeks, maybe before the break, when I talked with Chief Sparks about cameras outside of what the police department has, maybe that can be inclusive when we talk at the workshop about more cameras in the city to expand, you know, to our parks, more specifically with the security, but not just the cameras to help us be safe all over the city, but, you know, some more at the parks.
Yes, ma'am. Those are actually implemented in the construction. So when
Okay,
we put
good.
Will and Workers online, you will see, actually, Marcus Thompson and myself spoke today. He was getting with the police department as we look at cameras. They'll be integrated into the police department.
Okay,
So
good.
it'll be a completely different system that will actually support any other type of security that we can have, because even with patrol, we know it's limited. So if
Yeah.
we have something that integrates with our police department, it'll be a little bit different for us. So you'll see that coming forward in the next 60 days or so.
Very good, very good. Thank you, City Manager. Other comments, any other business from council members? Councilman Davis, you good? Nicole? Miller? Couch? Councilman Estes? Councilman Adams? All right, they're trying to go, they're trying to get out of here. The other thing was and I don't know if, Chief, if you've spoken with Lisa Grossman from Community Services Board, Public Health, about the testing site at the mall, at Arbor Place Mall.
No, I haven't spoken with her, but we've been keeping security down there, if that's what, no, I hadn't spoken with her.
Yeah, she sent me an email, and I'm not certain, Miss Maria, if it was another one today. But it was a couple of days ago about they had long lines, and I did drive over to Arbor Place, and lines were pretty long for people getting tested for COVID. And so she wanted to know if we could provide any off-duty police officers. I talked to city manager, and of course, we're short ourselves, so we couldn't just allot any police officers over there outside of the rotations that they normally do on their zones.
I mean, we've been monitoring the traffic flow
Mm-hmm.
and making sure it's safe. You know, the lines may get a little long, but they work their way through.
Yes, sir.
So we've been monitoring that. So, you know, but if they want to hire off-duty, they
If they want to hire some, they can.
hire, yes.
Yes, sir, because I know that in Gwinnett, well, I shouldn't say the county, but it was on the news, they had to shut down the site because people, you know, their patients were getting short, waiting for a long time to get tested. And so that was one of the concerns, that some of the traffic was going around the mall and impeding people from, you know, driving through to go to different stores outside of having that testing site at
It's
Sears.
also bad at Deer Lick.
Oh, it's bad
Yeah,
at Deer Lick as well?
that line goes down Mack Road and blocks the entire direction for blocks and blocks.
Yes, sir. Well, that's the county, so I'll talk to Madam Chair about that to see if we can, I don't know what we can do, but that was one of her concerns. She asked me to speak with you all about. Any other comments? All right, we'll move on to comments from citizens and delegates. If anyone has stayed in the meeting, sustained the meeting, would like to speak with us, please come forward and give us your name and address for the record. And we have 5 minutes to address the body. Okay, I don't see anyone. So we'll do updates from city staff. Our city attorney, Mr. Joel Dotson.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Staff attorney, Ms. Lynn Woodward.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Chief of Police, Chief Gary Sparks.
No, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Our city manager, Ms. Marsha Hampton.
Yes, ma'am. I'd just like to say congratulations to those who were sworn in tonight, and Happy New Year to everyone. I would just request that you frequently check your email from the clerk's office and from Kristen Tate this month, because we do have a busy month with Cities United as well as our strategic planning meeting this month. Also, we will continue our COVID protocol, which will include limited attendance, in particular at city council meeting and city events, also spreading out. We'll take another evaluation before we enter our February meetings to see if things have in some sense tapered off, that we can return back to how we were operating in 2021. And then, as the mayor mentioned, I am still collecting items for the strategic planning session. I do have the agenda pretty much set, but as of always, I look to topics from the elected officials. The end of our planning session is always dedicated to you all. So if you have that information, please let me know as soon as possible as we gear up to have that for you. On Monday, I know you all would love to get out of here fairly quickly because there's a small
Yes.
game occurring that I heard about.
Councilman Allen.
I am going to be asking for an executive session. It's brief. It's very important information that I need to pass on to you all. I don't need a decision, but I need to pass the information on to you. So I hope to get you out of here as quickly as possible. And that's all I have.
Thank you so much, City Manager. Now, City Manager, you did say something about City United and that not SPLOST, but LOST. If that is one of the classes, because I've already canceled, but if they have LOST, then I will I'll reinstate myself.
I know there will be several different LOST trainings that GMA will be hosting. If Cities United is not an option, I will make certain that the clerk's office and Kristen gets the information to you when there's other opportunities if you are choosing not to go to Cities United.
Because we have received information from the county about the LOST negotiations, correct?
Not yet. So
Okay.
the way that works is that Madam Chair, as the chief elected official for the county, she gets to call the beginning of LOST negotiations. She has a time period in which she has to do so. We haven't heard that as of yet. I'm hopeful during our planning session that you're able to select your committee. You will hear some information about what legally we're required to do, what staff's plans are moving forward, so we can begin that process for this year, because we have to have that negotiation complete by December 31st
Okay.
of this year.
Wow, local option sales tax. Yes, sir, Councilman
That's
Davis.
one more, Madam Mayor, are there requirements for masks be worn when public come in to the city hall?
Yes, sir.
We are
have
asking
masks.
that. You all don't have that as a mandate. One of the, we talked about that before, and we did not put that in as a mandate. It was a requirement. Now, if you all want to do that, that would be up to the body to make that decision.
But we do have testing, the temperature testing, the dispensers for sanitizing your hands, and we have signs that say we recommend that you wear your mask.
Yes, ma'am. And from an operations standpoint, City Hall and many of your government offices, with the exception of community development, individuals are in fixed, in certain places in finance, individuals are in fixed offices. So most people work in closed, in a closed environment. I have communicated with department directors that at this time we can flex schedules if we need to continue to spread people out. But we have not, you all have not enacted a mandatory mask policy for city facilities.
If you, however you are feeling, please email the city manager on your druthers, whether you want it to be mandatory or recommend. Or those are two options.
And were there not any issues with the state that was overriding our ability to have a mandate?
I think legal would be able to answer this better than I can, but I think we have the authority to mandate how we operate our facilities, but I would leave that to legal.
Ms. Woodward, would you talk to us about the, and this is, I'm sorry, the executive order that Governor Kemp put into existence until January 26th, 2022?
I have not seen that executive order, but I will be prepared to speak on that on Monday.
Okay. I read it, but I'm not an attorney, so I don't want to make it deliberate or
Yeah,
try to.
I do recall that at the last time when the mandates came out, local governments were kind of in arms about some of the state requirements. So I do remember, I believe, local governments being exempt from some of those orders, and I believe those mask mandates and certain things were there. If you notice, some facilities have it, some don't, but we'll definitely verify for you on Monday.
Can I make a comment as well? I think what we did tonight in regards to controlling the numbers inside is really great. And because we have the temperature station as well as mask, if anyone would like to have one, if they just want one. But I do want to say, you know, if you, and I didn't know this, my husband and I had COVID, and we had very, very mild symptoms. But COVID can actually stay in your system for months. So I just wanted to, but I am okay with the numbers being controlled, so thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Member Burdan, will we have any other comments?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I like the idea of the city recommending the masks, those that feel comfortable. You know, the latest research out on masks and the things that they're saying about their ability to prevent, you know, maybe specific kinds of masks. You don't see too many people walking around with R95s. So I just like the idea of strongly suggesting and people make their own decisions. I'm just not big on, personally, on mandating.
Yes, sir. Councilman Adams?
Just curious, Madam City Manager, did we not follow the governor's guidelines in the last situation we had with COVID and basically seemed to follow the state? And I would assume that we would want to do the same thing in this one. I feel like he did a great job of managing the situation, and I'm just curious if this would mean that we would need to go in a different direction than the state is going, because so far the state's they've not put that in place, and I'm sure we'll hear from that on Monday, right?
Yes, sir, and since the mayor did the first executive order, but once the governor put in his executive order, we followed that executive order and not done any type of local order outside of what the governor has put in place. We've just adhered to it. We have opened back up the virtual portion of participation in our meeting. Of course, we want, you know, individuals to feel safe. We had closed that because things had seemed to taper off, but we'll keep that in place until we kind of level off again and we're able to, because as long as there is an emergency order in place, you all are able to participate virtually. We have discovered that, but once that goes away, you're no longer able to participate in meetings virtually.
Well, I really appreciate everything that staff has done in order to try to keep us safe and to put the new protocols back in place, I totally support with what's been done. I appreciate all your efforts there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Adams. And for the public, because we have gotten some comments, if you noticed from our last council meetings in 2021, we had come back together even on this day as we've spread out. Staff is more, we have council members at different desks and staff is spread out, and we're limiting the amount of people that are able to come into the chambers at a time. Again, we have the testing station when you come in for your temperature and dispensers, and we recommend, and it's 98%, 99 that have masks on. So we have implemented some more social distancing just because of the numbers for Delta and Omicron, and we'll follow those mandates from the governor and what makes sense for the city of Douglasville. Any other comments? Thank you. Not seeing anything. We appreciate your patience. This meeting is adjourned.